Hi everyone, you're here with Jen on Friday, and today I am going to teach you how to make a cob loaf dip. So the ingredients are a loaf of bread. Now this is tiger bread. It's actually best if you use a cob loaf, hence the name Cob Loaf Dip. Unfortunately, the bakery that I usually go to ran out, so I'm using tiger bread. You're going to be cutting this, just the top of it, you're going to be cutting the top off, and then you're going to be taking all the filling out, and then you're going to be putting the dip into this, but we'll get to that later. You're going to need a block of cream cheese, one onion, brown onion, frozen chopped leaf spinach. The recipe actually calls for only two rashers, but I tend to put a lot of bacon in. I might put 3, maybe even 4. We'll see how we go. You're going to need some garlic. It actually asks for 3 cloves of garlic. I tend to just use finely minced garlic. 1 teaspoon of this is the same as 1 clove, so I'll be using that. You're going to be needing some mozzarella or some kind of grated cheese. I had this, so I'm going to be using this. I also forgot to mention you will need some fat-free, or you can even use whole if you want, but I think it tastes a bit different. But you're going to need a cup of mayo, okay? A mixing bowl and a chopping board. You're going to be needing a small fry pan just to cook the bacon. I think that's it. I think that's all it is. Chop the onion into like 1 centimeter pieces. I don't know what that would be for you Americans with your crazy inches, but go for maybe 1/3 of an inch. Pop your onion into your mixing bowl and then chop up your bacon, the same size as your onion, and start frying that up. If you like your bacon really crispy, cook it really crispy. If you like it just a little bit done, cook it that way. There's really no wrong way to cook your bacon for this dish. You're going to be taking 1 cup of your grated cheese and you're going to be putting that into the mixing bowl as well. You're going to be putting the 3 cloves of garlic, chopped obviously, in there as well. And your chopped leaf spinach and your Philadelphia. Now this, it's good if you know you're going to be making this, keep your Philadelphia out for the day so it gets really, really soft and smushy. It's easier to mix then, okay? So put all of the ingredients into your bowl and just start to mix it. Sometimes if you feel like the Philadelphia is really a bit hard, pop the whole thing into the microwave for like 20 seconds and then try again. And of course your mayo, don't forget that that also goes into your mixing bowl. So I'm going to quickly go do everything that I just told you guys to do, and then I'll come back for the next bit. All right, so I have just finished mixing up the dip. Looks like that. That's got everything in it. Now, what I like to do is I put a tiny bit of salt in it. If you've put a lot of bacon in it, don't worry too much about the salt, but I usually just put like 2 pinches of salt just to give it a little bit more flavor. And then I put a little bit of whatever pepper you prefer. I love white pepper, so I just kind of put a few sprinkles of that. Give that another mix. All right, so that is done. And now it's time for the bread part. So usually a cob loaf is pretty round. It's not at all as long as this. So what I've decided to do with this one is I'm going to actually cut it. I'm thinking of cutting it to about maybe that size, keeping this part, and we can actually use that for dipping. And then this side is actually going to be where we're going to hollow out the bread and put the dip in there. All right, so I've just cut the end of the bread off, and now we're actually going to cut the top off and then start pulling that out. Now, because I have taken that part off, I've got to be very careful that I make this side a little bit thicker as I'm pulling out, like leave a little bit more on this side, just so that things don't seep out when we put the dip mixture into here, okay? So, I'm just gonna cut the top off. Just like that, okay? And then I'm just going to start pulling all of that out with my hands. And keep the filling, because you can actually use it also for dipping. And it's pretty easy. All you actually have to do is kind of grab it, see? And it just kind of comes apart. But like I said, on this side, I would say it's probably a good idea if you can't find a cob loaf and you have to go for something like a tiger loaf or something that's oval, unless you make more dip and you just want to use the entire thing. I would suggest probably just cutting through this part, keeping it quite, you know, give yourself almost an inch and a bit of stuff, you know what I mean, so that of a wall, I guess, so that it won't go through that. Hopefully this is the first time I've done it this way, so we'll see how it works. And then we just keep going. Just make sure, like I said, be very careful with that one wall. Yep, and just start pulling it all out. There you go. You can break all that up for later. Pull it out. Try not to hit that outer crust too much. You know, like, don't pull too much out. Now, I'm hoping that should be enough there should be enough of a space for the amount. So there we go, completely hollowed out. Now the next thing you're going to do while you're actually filling the bread with the dip mixture that we just made, you're going to turn your oven on, fan forced, at 170 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, you crazy American people, but you can figure it out for yourself. Ha! So now let's put the dip mixture in there. We're going to put the top on, just like that. And then the next step is we're going to cover this with aluminium foil, okay? Really, really well. We're going to put the whole thing into the oven for 2 hours. So let's go do that. Two hours. So I've got some friends who are going to be coming over and eating this dip with me, and they're a little bit camera shy, so I won't be able to show you the final result. But basically what you're going to do is 15 minutes before the cob loaf comes out, you're going to cut, you know, the bits of, well, if you've got any extra bread, cut that up, and the filling, you're going to just pull them apart into little pieces, you know, and then you're going to put that in on the tray with your cob loaf just for like 10-15 minutes, so it's nice and crispy, and it'll be good for to use as a dip or a dipper. Then you're going to take the whole thing out and you're going to cut the lid as well so that that can be used as a dipper. And then also cut up some carrots, some, you know, red peppers or whatever kind of peppers that you like. Anything that can be used to dip with the bread. And you're going to eat that epic dip like there was no tomorrow. And then you can even kind of start breaking it open and actually using the bowl and eating the bowl. I hope you enjoy it. I'm sure you will. Please let me know if you try it and tell me what you think of how it tastes. Tell me if you tweak the recipe a little bit, if you add to it or if you subtract from it. I'd love to hear some of your dip recipes and other things that you could put inside the bread, because I'm always looking for good food for, like, you know, your friends coming over and something that's a bit easy to make. Hope you had a good week. Have a good weekend, and I shall see you next Friday.